You are a raspberry apple tart with crystallized sugar shavings, and we have breaking news. The New York Stock Exchange, ARCA, has filed a form to convert the Grayscale Ethereum Trust into an ETF. That is Grayscale ETH. They are filing to convert it. Now, of course, this is just the filing of the paper. It is not the actual conversion, of course. We're waiting for Bitcoin. But you're wondering, why is this breaking news? And that's because this changes everything, friends. This introduces the possibility we might get an actual traditional top to sell in crypto. This threw me off guard. Why? Because we both know the Bitcoin ETF is coming a bit early. Roca Negra really want to get their dark tentacles there, their little antennas, because they're little bug eater overlords. We're going to get it probably 2024, January, February, or March, sometime there. And we know that is a big scam. But it's a bit early in the cycle, so they're going to make their money somehow. But with this Ethereum one, now the game is changed. Why? Well, it now introduces the chance that the Roca Negra Bitcoin ETF doesn't get the marking of the top, but the Grayscale Ethereum one, if there is an Ethereum one somewhere in 2025, that would be enormous. I'd like to let you know too, in 2025, that would mark more than 10 years of Ethereum's existence. So Ethereum came out 2014. Next year would be its 10th year anniversary. If we get to 2025 and they did market there, wow, that would be a top. I really hope we get it. Can you imagine that? I wonder how much it would change things. I wonder if it would change the ETH BTC ratio. I wonder if it would make it go towards a flippening. These are things to consider. I really would hope this comes to time itself out perfectly. I just want to remind you, we don't have any guarantees, but in the past 3 out of 3 cycles, the time to sell everything, all your altcoins, was 12 months after the Bitcoin halving. That would be April 2025. Now, of course, I know if you're new friends, welcome. Take a seat over there, keep your back straight and your fluffy slippers on. I know a lot of people just say to me, okay, we're definitely selling there. Yes, but you always got to play it by ear. You just never know what the crowd's going to be doing. Hey, what if we get euphoric in January 2025? If you stick by that rule, a lot can happen in 3 months. Like, just imagine, we were waiting to sell in January 2022. Look at the difference from November. Bitcoin was already down 50%. Altcoins were down 70%. You've already lost 3/4 of your money just by waiting those extra 3 months. Ouch. The pain. And then, yeah, it went down 99% for a lot of coins too. So that's something to think about as we push forward. We know JP Mosquito are really trying to get their little flies in, okay? Little fly wings and their little freaking little stingers trying to come in and suck the blood out of crypto. We know they're coming and we know they're going to get greedy. Are they going to use this as the final exit scam? We'll wait and see. So a question to ask, I want to share with you this, okay? How is it that all the mainstream frauds out there were turbo bullish when the crypto was 3 trillion in size, which was the top? Okay, they were all turbo bullish there, all right? But now that we're only 1 trillion, everyone's disappeared. What's happened? Why? Of course, we know what it is, friends. We know it's the prices. That's why I'm here to tell you. Life throws you lemons. You make Coca-Cola. Crypto's cheap. I've covered this before. I want you to know it makes no sense to be turbo bullish at 3 trillion. And then now that we're cheaper, for you to say, well, nah, I'm not bullish anymore. I completely understand the feeling. Yes, the fear takes over. But you got to remember, there is still so many problems that crypto solves. And we are on our way to the moon. Many influencers out there are still enormously turbo bearish. Okay, so here is one of the crowd favorites for the bears, Mr. Crypto Capo. Mr. Crypto Capo has still got his vertical lines down to Doomtown for $12,000 Bitcoin. Where is this coming from? This is just a theory because it came from the zombie virus. It's basically, okay, we're going down to 0. Everybody gets long and then everybody makes all their money back and more and they kill it and they ride it to 100K. right off into the heavens. I don't think markets are going to give it to us that easy, especially because everybody is expecting it. And just as an example of expectations not coming out as we hoped, this is HEX from Ethereum, otherwise known as eHEX. I want to ask you, how high do you think eHEX will go? So the drop from the top is enormous, minus 99.42%. If you were to measure it up with combining the total HEX, the price would be about 1.1 cents. It would be about here, which is still a low drop. And remember, that broke the key low because we had the corrupt SEC attack. So I'm curious what people's expectations are, especially as you move through into the fourth quarter. And I'm also wondering if total HEX stays under 10 cents for the next year, how will people react? So it now marks more than 2 years since the top. So HEX is since September 2021. The total HEX is down minus 98%. Okay. And it's been more than 2 years, 2 years in 1 month. Now, if we go to September 2024 and the price is around 5 or 6 cents or lower, then that is still a 90% down after 3 years. So that's something to think about, how people will revise their upwards targets in the bull market. And there is no real answer, but I think a nice way to think about it is you got to say to yourself, well, how high do you think HEX will be when Bitcoin is 40K, 60K, 100K, like that? I think that's a better way to look at it, because really at the end of the day, guessing targets for prices gets you nowhere. You're guessing where Bitcoin's going to land without even knowing it. And I also have the weekly Supertrend here. Even though the weekly Supertrend is dropping aggressively week by week, we need 0.007. So still eHEX less than 1 cent to flip it bullish, but it's not like these numbers go super enormous. I mean, this is still like a plus 100% rally. So if you were to do that, it'd still go to like 1 or 2 cents. So, I mean, these are still horrifically low numbers compared to what we're looking at during the bull market. I mean, everybody was talking about it never going below 19 cents. And then that happened. And then it was like, well, we'll never go below 10 cents. And then it happened. And then, yeah, we just absolutely capitulated below 1 cent. Now we can't seem to go up. Now, the harsh thing is to think about is the market has had a lot of time to accumulate these as well. So this is just, it's unfortunate reality. If the market reprices much lower, it gives opportunity for everybody to buy here. And yes, it's great opportunity for people to DCA buy, but they do act as gravity on the way up. And it makes sense why. Like a 10x for somebody down here, think about it. People can put 10 grand down here. All it needs to go is 2.9 cents and they turn into 100K straight away. Whereas many people might be getting back to break even back there. So that's just the unfortunate reality of what happens if prices drop an extreme amount. Here we have Mr. Theno51 saying, Sammy, I don't know about eHEX, but I've started to think it couldn't be a bad idea to sell HEX at 10 cents. So where are they getting that from? If we look at the total combined HEX price, we can see that around the Pulse Chain launch, it was around 9 to 10 cents. So everybody's identified that as a key area. That was where everybody went in and got trapped before the minus 95% collapse again, which is kind of shocking. It was the second time it collapsed again. It was like an extended bear market. Everything got destroyed. So a lot of people have this as a key psychological area. So, I mean, the harsh thing is, even if you do end up succeeding, that zone is heavy resistance the first time. Just like every other coin, right? Just like you have to battle all of these things on the way up. Now, a lot of people believe pHEX is not going to have any of these resistances. And unfortunately, not the case. That's because you might think you're theoretically painting new charts in unknown lands, but what you're not doing is you're not painting new humans. We have the same people, the same psychological damage. They are still healing from the 2021 narratives. Remember, we had Richard Hart, all the streams, they're all saying bear market hedge, we're decorrelated, we have the best code, best community, the sell on a double. All these marketing talking points, it's still ingrained in everybody's minds. So when you go back up, they don't forget that. That's like, once bitten, 15 times shy. And that's exactly the case as it is here. So obviously it doesn't mean you never go up. Of course, you battle it through. But I think everybody's starting to come to terms with the reality of the situation. Good question from Tommy. What would the narrative have to be to push it up and beyond these levels? You have to remember Bitcoin and Ethereum flipped bullish a long time ago. Yes, that's true. So good question from Tommy. So when it comes to any of these coins, usually what you got to wait for is, I know it just sounds wild. You can't do anything. You got to wait for Bitcoin to hit a critical inflection point, which you don't know what it is. And it just has to stop. Basically, Bitcoin maybe just goes to like 40K and then 50K and then back to 40. And when it's back in that 50 to 40, the market says, oh, wow, we are now repricing much higher. And then people wake up to how they want to reprice all the other altcoins. Now, individual people are nutcases, and they don't actually specifically say this themselves, but the collective mindset of everyone adds up into one like basic pricing torpedo, and that's the effect you get. Once you see that price action, you know what I mean. So Bitcoin gets to a certain point, and then we get to see, okay, how much is eHEX really worth? But right now, no one's thinking about that. Everyone's thinking with fear. They're thinking about, okay, what if Richard never returns? How we can't ever go up. We have everybody dumping. There's identity crises out here. There's too many coins. Those are the type of things plaguing everyone's mind. So, but once you basically let go of the fear, you need Bitcoin, Ethereum going up, then you can start to have that conversation. And that's when everybody starts to become a dreamer again. So you even have Mr. Egged saying, my break-even point, please. So as you can see, that's a lot of people. They're just waiting for that break-even point. It's the same thing in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's break-even point is $37,000 exactly. So that's probably the next magnet when we go. Now, it could overshoot to 40, 50K, come back to 37. So it's interesting how the market types, it kind of remembers this zone when it's hovering around on a swing type of micro time frame. Could be 1, 3, or 6 months around that area. But we also have other guesses. So Mr. Free up 25 cents, Shiva 45 cents. So just let you know, these numbers, if you were to guess these numbers just a year ago, like everybody would have hung you publicly. They're saying there's no way this thing will top out anywhere there. They would actually call you, they'd like basically call you stupid. Now I think everybody is starting to come to terms with the reality of the situation, how far things are going down. And really, we got to be honest, like it's hard. You have to be consistent and we have to be logical, but also we've got to remember everyone's enthusiasm was a product going up of Richard Hart's marketing. So when he said any coin that drops more than basically 95% is absolute trash, I think it's really come back to haunt everyone in the community, because it's like, it's the only way to go, okay, how come minus 95% was the key target for the past 14 years, and now when it comes to us, we're down minus 99.45%, basically lunar type of level. That's the type of feeling everyone has in there. So if, look, it's going to require, and I don't know who could ever do this, right? It would require a big, fat, giant swoop up to make everyone rethink everything. I don't know how much money would be required. Remember, you have BankX dumping, even in pHEX as well. You have a lot of psychological damage there, but there's only one way to get this out. And obviously, I don't know who could do it. There's only one person with the wallet to do it. And it's something to think about. So if this was to get rescued, and of course, we've seen crazy things happen in crypto before, right? You would just literally have to see the big cavalry arrive, and they just literally shoot this thing back up to like 5 cents. If they like to sweep eHEX back to 5 cents and basically just signify to the market, we are never going down there again, that's the type of thing you'd want to see. Of course, we don't just single out eHEX, it's pHEX too. Remember, this is the pHEX chart, and the orange line is eHEX, and they are just hovering around together. So they are still in the damage zone, of course. Remember, pHEX is not even a cent. So, I mean, look, I just want you to think about something. A lot of people will say, well, HEX is the premier store of value. Okay. The prices, though, of the combined HEX is still really low. It's about 1 penny. It's about 1.1 cents. So you'd kind of think if everyone really wanted it, people wouldn't have at least pHEX below 1 cent. I just feel like this psychological number is so important to get above. And it's been hovering out here for like a long time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like 3 months under 1 cent. That's something to think about. Where do we go from here? Well, we have a lot of prices to reclaim on the way up. And you're going to need Bitcoin and Ethereum to show the way. We don't know exactly when. We don't know how. We need to clear a zone. Did the corrupt SEC add another year to the bear market? Because everyone thought we're going to like avoid the bear market and do early, because I even thought this as well. Of course, Pulse Chain was our narrative, but now basically we got the end of the bear market. We got to extend it as well. So where do you go from here? Well, if things turn around, the upside is still enormous, but yeah, things do have to turn around. Also, as a friendly reminder for eHEX, so I was replying here to Tommy. He talked about the narrative required to push it up. So we would need an enormous amount of money, but BankX have around 745 million eHEX. So even 10 cent eHEX gives them $74.5 million. That's just 10 cents. Okay, so that's not an enormous price at all. So you look at the chart here, okay, that would just be around here. Now, obviously, and the top is 50 cents. So that's an enormous amount to think about, because if they have $74.5 million, that is, yeah, they're getting quite a bit of yield. They can basically keep exiting. They can clobber it down. They can. And I know people say, well, we underestimate the amount of money coming in. Yes. What if we require Bitcoin to be 150K for a new injection, or 200K? So that's other things that introduce complexity to the scenario of everything playing out. We've also got Kaiser Crypto, a very kind friend of the channel, does the best clips ever. We appreciate Kaiser every single day. Kaiser has an estimate of between 77 cents for eHEX and $3.33. I would love to see it. I really would. I wonder how benevolent BankX is themselves. I don't want to target BankX completely, just because there are many players in every coin who, you know, could clobber systems down. They choose not to. They become benevolent. They try to hold out. There's a lot of these things going on. And yes, if you were to just send the coin up by itself, okay, someone big exits. But if the whole market's going up, these people change their tune. They become believers. A lot of things happen like that. And we know this from the liquidity to the market cap ratios. Only 1 in 30 people can exit. So, you know, theoretically, Bitcoin could have just been dumped by Satoshi at the start as well. Like every single coin just has that big giant person that decides to just take a punt and takes a long-term view, right? So whether it's pHEX, eHEX, pulsex, Pulse, there's still always going to be players, and it just takes a long time to distribute. But obviously, we're waiting to see. Is it going to be enough distribution before the bull run is really ready to start? I guess we'll just have to see how it plays out in 2024. I think we're going to have a better idea towards Bitcoin halving. But look, with a number down this much, I wonder what an optimistic target would be in terms of return back to normalcy. Like, I'm just thinking about it. Like, if you wanted to rescue eHEX, right, or just in pHEX in general, and you sent them back to 10 cents, you already know BankX is sitting on 74 million there. And then with pHEX, it's not just BankX. You can think of like the top 10 to 15 big accounts there as well. They would have the same amount as BankX. It's just that it's split between 10 to 15 people. So you would also be giving them 74, 75 million. Do they want to sit and accept that? Or do they want to hold for much longer? That's why we've been hearing a lot of these 10 cent psychological round numbers from everybody. And it just makes you wonder if those people have done rinsing out, or if they're just waiting to clobber it as we get higher. Make sure you like, subscribe, belly button all, friends. I'm going to catch you in the next one.